Good afternoon, folks. My name is Miss Roshumba, and another session of Let's Talk and Grow with Miss Roshumba. As you can see, I have this board with my friend Mr. Early Laverne, which is why I do this show in his honor. You know, he was a poet many years ago, and his poetry and his spirit is guiding me to do a show to remind us how we are all connected with each other. So today I have a new guest, and I'm gonna have him introduce himself to you.
Good afternoon. Hi. My name is Joseph L.Y., owner and operator here at L.Y.'s Custom Design Jewelry and Repair at the Florence Square.
Yes. So he's a wonderful individual and an amazing jeweler and an artist. And so I just thought it's important for us to highlight our people that are entrepreneurs working and showing us that we have the ability to work for ourselves and build ourselves. So today I'm just going to have a little conversation with him and just let him tell us a little about who he is and how he could benefit, especially those young gentlemen that is growing in our world today, and older gentlemen, because we live in a society that does not always include us, and if it does, it's not always from the positive levels. But you know, I always start off with a poem, and today I'm starting off with a poem again, and it's going to be one from Mr. Early Laverne, because he was a poet. His poetry book was called A Rainbow of Poems. So let me do one of his to break the ice. And this poem is called Fighting for My Well-Earned Respect. An obstacle placed before me is a threat. I am built to withstand any test. I know how to rise above the bad situation. Daily, I administer self-appreciation. My purpose in a fight is not always to win. I hold dear toward a much larger plight. I would rather earn a sincere friend, for a quality relationship has no end. Many people offend you practically every day, selfishly desiring to have things their way. You are ill-treated and serve neglect, so I am fighting for my well-earned respect. Someone can beat me and knock me to the ground. I know time will heal me and turn things around. Having to face many bad situations will always find me doing my best, ever protecting what is right and just. I know obstacles come in many numbers and forms, so take heed to this enlightening poem. Any degree of harm can inevitably infect, so I'm fighting for my well-earned respect. Ashe. Yeah, so that was the great Mr. Early Laverne speaking. Now, he's an ancestor. He passed in 2013, and so I've been given the liberty to take care of his wonderful collection of poems. But here I am with Mr. Joe. I'm going to call him Mr. Joe.
Okay.
And you can see Mr. Joe got his handlebar mustache going on. You see that? Mr. Joe, I like your locks.
Thank you.
It's really fitting of you.
Yeah, I'm on a special journey, I would imagine. Because
Yes.
Before it was like,
Yes.
something to do, but yeah.
It fits you very well.
Thank you.
Yes, you just started not long back?
Just after the pandemic started. I think
Okay.
it was during the pandemic that kind
Okay.
of got me like not combing the hair and
Yes.
not really engaging and just letting it go.
Just letting it go.
Yeah.
Yes. So I've locked my hair since the mid-90s, and it's a very spiritual thing. I understand. At least it was for me. I don't know if for you, did you feel a certain way as it grew? Did you
I haven't had that experience yet.
Okay.
What I have had is just the freedom of not having to worry about what my hair is actually like. Is it in the right shape? Is it okay?
Yes.
But now it's just like, okay, this is
Freedom.
what it is.
Right. And I'm sure weekly or monthly you're seeing the changes that it's taking you through, because from the size that you probably started it with, the length I should say, to where it is now, it's transforming, and it's
Well, I have a few inches on there. Starting from a Covadas haircut, just going like that. So it's been like that.
Yes.
We'll see how long it goes,
Yes.
But I always know that if you cut it off, it will grow back.
That's
Not a problem. At
You hear
least
that,
mine
women?
does. Anyway, mine come back.
Yes. If you cut your hair, it will grow back.
It will come
Yeah, because it's alive, just like you are alive. So I'm going to start off today with the topic today is the black man speaks. Yes, the black man speaks. So we have the elder, Mr. Joe. You cannot make it to be an elder without having to have gone through something in a society in which we live in. So I'm always respectful whenever I see a black man of age. That means somehow wisdom has found its way. So I started by having basically to ask Mr. Joe to tell me a little bit about what it means for him as an elder living in the new world order, 21st century techie world, because we've all come from the 1900s, which we call the 20th century, and now we're in the 21st century. So things are changing, and they're changing very quickly. And so as we are journeying in this society and as a whole, what does that mean for the elder black man? And I keep saying elder, but a black man, period.
Yeah. Well, I think it means that you have to just continually be aware and make yourself aware of the changes that are taking place. Have some person that you associate with within your family, or somebody that you know that can relate to those issues, and to keep you abreast of how your telephone works and what all the apps and everything is doing. So
Right.
in that regard, before it was a paper world, a pen and paper where you put
Correct.
it down and so forth now, and so it's so easy to get left behind as far as how fast
Yes.
that pace is moving. So I'd say if you aren't into enlightening yourself about the electronics and what's going on out there in the world, I would advise you to take some time out to look into it and become more aware. Don't be afraid of what the new normal is, because that's normal now. It's not anything that was just for a brief period of time, but it's with us, and it's going to be here. And so it encompasses us to be as good as we can be, and with what's available, because everything is available now on that phone right there.
That's right, and we're
Here we
looking
are.
right at that phone
Yeah,
now.
yeah.
I guess one of the things that I really wanted to zero in on is, you and I are from the generation where we didn't have the phones and the technology calling and pulling us to away from ourselves and nature, and really communing with each other. And what I've seen is that there's a lot of young people that's where they get their information from, the tech world. And not only that, but they spend too much time on it that they really don't have time to talk with each other, therefore with us. And if we're the wise ones, and I hope we are wise, if we're the ones that have lived a little time and survived, then I think it's important for us to have that dialogue. And that's part of why, I thought we may have it today with Mr. Joe, so that we could kind of remind the world that, we need each other. And part of it is we went on the techie, so that means one day you'll see us on the device. So we must speak certain things to make us aware of ways to have shortcuts. We need shortcuts because a lot of our young youths are walking right into the entrapment. A lot of people work at jobs they don't enjoy. A lot of people and young youths, they need to know that they could start their own businesses. Because I do feel there are people working in jobs they do not enjoy until very end. Can you speak a little to that?
Well, I think if you have a job, you should work your job, right? Whatever that is. If you have a dream, you should also pursue that as well. As not giving up the bird in the hand as for what's in the bush, but to combine them in
Yes.
terms of being able to have this resource there and to be able to provide you resources to pursue whatever that dream might
Correct.
be, or whatever your gift might be, right?
Right.
It was kind of interesting just the other day. It was said that our gifts choose us. We don't choose our gifts.
Our gifts choose
so
us.
If our gift has chosen us to be in the jewelry business, okay, then
Right.
here it is. It didn't happen early on because I had to work. I had to be that person
Right.
that had to go to work and set my dream to the side. But it was a way to keep everything moving forward and keep my economy as well as it could be.
Yes.
Right? But the pursuit of what I love to do, it never went away. So
Right.
in terms of me being an elder person and pursuing this right now, that's where I'm at. And
That's
this is my
correct.
journey, right?
Yes.
So if I
Yes.
can just share, hey, don't give up what you're doing. but
Don't
just
give it
add
up.
to it, right?
Yes.
And then I've heard that a lot of times we don't do everything to our fullest potential, right? We kind of do it. If somebody gives you the opportunity to say, that's okay, you're all right, you're good, you're okay. A lot of times we accept that
Right.
and become that person that, okay, we're okay, but instead of going beyond that and being excellent, right?
Right.
And to have somebody to check on you and push you and keep you engaged and moving forward, then, if you have that particular individual around, then hopefully you can put it all together and continue to move and have a prosperous life, right?
Right.
But,
And I like what Mr. Joe said, because sometimes, like he says, your gift chooses you. But oftentimes we don't have the support system. We don't have the father, the uncle. We don't have the role models to say, yes, you can. And, we live in a society that oftentimes, create obstacles, and distraction. We live in a time now where, you could smoke marijuana 24/7. It's okay now.
not get arrested.
And not get arrested. And so those are different other forms of distraction. Because, when we oftentimes not doing what it is that we're here to do, our gifts, we pacify ourselves with those things that keep us in our place.
Yeah. Well, I think it's important to have a role model if you can. If there's a role model in your house or in your family, they're okay. Observe what the role model is doing, right? And because most of the time, any male that's involved with another male, he wants to emulate whatever that male is, especially if he's not the elder one. The younger one is looking up to the elder one
Right.
to see how to do, what to do, and
Right.
when to say, and so forth like that. So if you have somebody within your confines that you respect and understand, and they can give you the little information and give you the answers, if you will, to problems. Because a lot of times, I think people get stuck in, well, you figure the answer out yourself. And a lot of times, in cases, we don't have to have it figured out. I mean, in terms of figuring it out yourself, but you
Right.
can be given the answer
Right.
and have received that information and keep moving forward, right? It's not something where, well, I don't quite understand it, but hey, this is the answer now. Keep moving. Everything is going to catch up and be on the same line when you get to the end of it there. But if you don't have somebody there, especially young males, to keep that energy that grows with them as they become mature and so forth like that, and it means putting them in check in certain ways or whatever to keep them, humble, respectful to the nurturing and the growing up of what you see in them and what you're trying to let them see in themselves, and how far they can be and how great they can be.
Right.
I mean, they have examples all the time to aspire to say, hey, I want to be like that, or whatever. And you can be. You could be whatever you want to be.
Right, right. You could be whatever you want to be, is what he says. But we cannot negate that because of our journey as African people in this society, we cannot negate how tumultuous and challenging that could be. Mr. Joe has reminded us the importance of the male figure in the life of the young males, the young boys, especially young boys to men. And he also, not only did he speak of that, but he also mentioned the importance for them to see the businesses that have been created and formed by black men. Because we live in a system that will clearly show us our brokenness and where we fall short. And we come from homes oftentimes that lacks the father figure or lacks a healthy family environment. So I like to, when I'm speaking to you, to really dive into how important that, even if this is the only conversation that a young youth will get, I want to really dive into the importance of what it means to speak to the young ones that don't trust the elders, don't trust the system, don't trust the education, and they're kind of angry. So I spoke to you initially by saying, to have made it to an elder also means that he's journeyed from some difficulties. He didn't just found his way. He retired. This is his heartfelt gig. But, so if he could make it, I just wanted to say on to you, young youths, as you're looking and listening to this conversation, you too one day can as well. So yeah. I would say to you, give me a little feel what it must have been like for you as a young man growing up in this system that we live in, Yeah,
it was very, very interesting. It's a lot of brokenness, a lot of fragmented. They didn't have a term for it before.
Yes.
But they have a term for it now, and it's called dysfunctional families, right?
Exactly.
And I was part of a dysfunctional family, if you will. Right?
Yes.
My father was gone, mother taking care of kids, young babies, including myself for a while, being separated from the family. But through the not having the male figure close by, you kind of become your own man in a sense,
Right.
Especially if the female is not able to calm you down and keep you on a straight line.
Right.
Or you have the attitude that you're going to accept whatever the training is that's being given to you. And
Right.
you go in this way right here, you go to school and graduate,
Right.
become employed, so forth and so on. But for the one that, have those struggles, it's like, you just have to live through it, really. And some are going to make it, and some are not going to make
That's
it.
right.
Some just will not make it. They won't heed the call. They won't accept the instructions, and so they're bound to go down that path.
Right.
So for those that, including myself, I've had. I won't explain everything to you, but I've been through a lot. I'm quite older than you.
Yes.
I won't say how old I am, but
He's
I'm
an
a senior
elder.
person.
That's what I
Yeah.
say. He's an elder,
Yeah.
one that survived through the storms.
Yeah, 10 plus. And so with that regard, I've had opportunity to mentor young men, to help them out, to be able to somewhat evaluate what's going on with them and give them some information that they can use to carry on this journey, right? And because I had an opportunity to work within the penal institution, I worked in an institution, and the young men that were under my supervision and so forth like that, able to give them some information that they can use in their life And that's really all we're here for, is just to pass on information.
Correct.
Information is free, but some people want to charge you for it or
Yes.
make you to pay or whatever. But
Right.
if I can tell you something and it betters your life, and you become a better person, then I did what I was supposed to do.
Exactly.
And that means that's just sharing the information that I have, and you take it, and wherever it falls in to a category that you're able to use it, then that's what it's
That's
for.
right.
You put it in your Rolodex, if you will,
Yeah.
and at any proper time or sometime you may fall back and remember that and say, oh, I can do it this way. I don't have to give up, but some people give up. They
Yeah.
concede, they
Yeah.
say, hey, I'm finished with it.
Mhm.
I'm not going to make it. But through it all, in terms of relying on God and a personal desire to want to be better and to, have the fruits of this life, and to enjoy the things that you love to enjoy, as
Right.
opposed to not being able to do it,
Right.
but, because
By losing your freedom, and
Yeah,
even
yeah.
worse, your life.
Yeah, that's
You
the
know?
worst thing right there.
Right.
Is to become. They used to call it in the game of life in terms of having a suicide script, and that's your mentality. You don't care. You just go and do because you want to, in a sense, be that person. But a lot of times, you're not going to go anywhere until it's your time to go.
Yeah, and what he said is so very correct, and one thing that sometimes as an elder myself, and we forget, is all the stages that we must go through to arrive where we are. That when you're in your adolescent years, we only see just where we are. And we feel the pain and we feel the suffering, but it's through all of those challenges becomes the lessons. And over the years, I personally have seen that there's some must go and be the example for those that are still here. And so to reach an age where we now we're wisdom. Not everyone gets wisdom just because they're older. I just want to say that, by the way. That's a gift.
Some gray-haired fools out there too.
Yeah, that's actually a gift, to actually put the puzzle completely together and not have too many missing pieces. But Mr. Joe said something that I just kind of want to reiterate. We come from a fragmented families, not because our parents wanted it to be that way. I will always have to revisit the journey that our ancestors embarked on some 400 years ago for us to have to be here today. And I'm Caribbean born, so the Caribbean is not excused from it. That is very well known for having had the same situation, our enslavement. And as we all well know, well, maybe we don't, but the largest populations of African people that were taken out of the continent of Africa resides in Brazil. And we must also know that one of the most powerful groups of people, of the Africans that were brought out of the Africa to the Caribbean, South America, and the Americas, lies in Haiti. Haiti, yes. Haiti is the jewel of the African people in the Western Hemisphere, maybe the world. Because they showed what it meant to, through storms and challenges, to fight and got their freedom from slavery. The first country in 1804. So as you meditate on that conversation I'm having with you, you could kind of remember or think about the challenges they face even now because of that journey. But I always like to say knowledge is power. If you didn't know, you know now why they're special. And if they could overcome in their time, then you can overcome in your time too. So I could keep going, because to me it's important to connect the dots. Because if you didn't know what happened yesterday, not just in your life, But, sometimes we must relax ourselves a little bit to say, I wonder what was Papa's life? What was my father's life? Why he couldn't be here for me if you're a young man or even a young woman? And what made Mama unhappy why she couldn't see me and talk to me when I needed her? So everything has a root. So if we could relax a little bit, we could turn our minds and find out why, either through spirit, through speaking to family members, or just to turn off the phone. Speaking of phone, I'm getting a call. But anyway, so in continuing, I'm going to ask you another question. Well, what would you tell? Well, I already asked you what you would tell your 15-year-old self about what it means to have lived, in this society. What is your message to black men and black women today? Because one thing that I've come to find out is the black men and black women's relationship is very, very, very unstable. Because if we came out of an unstable type of liberty, even in our time, we have not resolved that question. And how can we become, a strong partnership? That's what I call it, partnership, after the gaga goo goo wears off of love at first sight and all of that, and the children have come. I think it's important to understand we have a partnership now. Not to repeat what maybe our lives were like in our fragmented families, but what it could be like, visionary, and what we wanted to see when we do it in our time. So, I may have answered the question, but I want to hear it from Mr. Joe. Mr. Joe, so
that's a big question.
Yes.
It's a big question because it's the two individuals that come together, right?
Yes.
And how well they're able to connect and understand one another and nurture and love and build up and protect and so forth,
Yes.
to make like you say, union move forward.
Yes.
You be fruitful and you grow and you multiply. But understanding that we all come from different backgrounds, we all come from different genealogy pools and makeup and everything else like that. So we do come with a whole lot of stuff, and we're trying to make it work with somebody else that says, "Oh, I just want to be with you." So
Yes.
now you come together and you multiply, and of course it's your job to grow these people up and give them the best life possible, because that's what you signed up for. You're the provider, you're the protector, and you're the guider and so forth. That your partner, your mate is on the same line as that, and so you can have that. But sometimes, different for whatever reasons, the understanding, the honesty, the energy goes in different directions. And I heard it. Well, Denzel Washington said it perfectly the other night. He said, "The devil comes for you when you're at your highest point. Right? That's when he'll come for you, and he will destroy and change any positive thing that can happen to you." Right? So it's incumbent of us to know that and know that we're not really in control. We're here, but we're in control of ourselves in a lot of ways. But there's a higher power that's really in control, and he's allowing us to do and have free will to move around and so forth like that. So, I mean, it's kind of simple in a sense, if you take care of yourself, you take care of your surroundings and so forth like that, be aware of things around you, but, to live the best life that you can, because each day it's getting closer to wherever that end is. We all have a number, we just don't know what it is, right? And so I want to go down the long road if I can, and if I pass information along to somebody that improves their lives or helps them out, then that's great. I've had a few people say, "Hey, you did really good for me. Thank you, I appreciate it." And that's all the person really wants, is to do that and look and see. You can see that person changed their life and how successful they are now, because you may have said something to them and you can share things. Oh, you had the same exact experience that they had, right?
That's right.
Just because, I look as well as I do right now, that don't mean that I haven't been through a lot, but I have. But thank God, I'm here.
That's correct.
I'm healthy and continue to look forward to bigger and better things. I'd like to see our West Custom Design jewelry grow.
Yes.
But however that is, or for however
24th
long that
and
is.
Florin in Sacramento.
And for however long that is, you know what I'm
Yes.
saying? But I enjoy what I do, and I appreciate the opportunity
Yes.
to
Yeah, thank you so
share
much.
with you today, Mr. Shumba.
Yeah, thank you so
And
much.
So,
And
thank you.
I just wanted to say, we honor Mr. Joe for sharing his personal views with you, because I would like to say we're all a star. We're all a star, and we all have a story, and our story is relevant, and the oneness of our people, not just people of African descent, but the universal people, the ones that show up especially with their hearts open. It requires us to all speak and tell our story. The relationship between black man and black woman is very unique. I just wanted to back up into it a little bit, because the nature of that is what determines our future oneness. And, just like everything else we have suffered from the past, that's one important part that has still yet to be healed. So personally, I've always felt that, we have to come at it in a partnership. Almost like when you go to work. When you go to work, you go there for your paycheck, and you may not like the boss, and the boss may not like you. You may not like your co-workers, and they may not like you, but you understand why you came there that day. So sometimes when you have that relationship, you must also ask yourself the question, yeah, I loved you yesterday. I loved you when you were sweet and young and sexy and swaggy. But today we've changed. But we cannot send back what we made during those moments. And so we have to be creative and hope that in our creativity as to respecting each other, as to why we are together for these children, giving to them what we may have not seen in our journey. Because oftentimes when we get stuck, we got stuck there in the fragmented pain of our parents. But we must surpass that and say we don't want for our children what we did not get for ourselves. And that's where growth begins, because now you have to come out of the box. Out of the box. So that's for another conversation, because, we are a complicated people. The first. We're a complicated people, so not in 20 minutes or 30 minutes can we tell our story. But I give a lot of respect to Mr. Joe to come on air with me and talk as we share our stories and different angles of it. I like to end, Mr. Joe, if you want to say anything else, you can. I'm going to pull one of my poems, because for those that don't know it, I'm also a poet. Rushumba. I have my first book called Truth and Light Are One, Poetic Soul Food. So
I just want to say, continue to believe in yourself. Continue to believe in yourself that you can achieve what comes into your mind. It's not something that you can't do. You can do it. Just continue to believe.
You understand that? Because Mr. Joe is living his dream. There was a time he worked for the system. He went to work every day, but he never gave up on his dream. So now he's living it. Locks and all. Oh, so this poem is called What Freedom? Again, written by Miss Rushumba. The title of the book is Truth and Light Are One, Poetic Soul Food. When freedom comes, what will you do with it? Or better yet, what will it do with you? Let the free show begin. They say it's peace that they want. Peter Tosh says it's equal rights and justice him want. No one looks for morality in their liberty anymore. It's pure vanity that has humanity up in arms for sure. Dry those eyes, you see, for there's no more crying left in me. Must stay strong. Got to keep the focus on the building of the nation. For the renewed black woman and man. Cheer them on, I say, brother man, for our future will not materialize if they fail this plan. Uplift, I say, the Black Clan awaits the victory of the day. Can you bring it on? Can you win it for we? Can you? Asheo.